we are beginning Unit 6A with Mission 1 today, looking at area and perimeter of geometric shapes. So before we start, I want you to pause the video and see if you can remember the formula for the area of each of these shapes and the formula for the perimeter of a shape. Alright, if you can't remember, I'm going to start with actually the rectangle right here. A rectangle, to find the area, we take the base and we multiply it by the height. We call it base times height. For a triangle, we do the same thing, base times height, and our height would be like here in the middle. But for a triangle, if that was our base times our height, that would really give us this rectangle right here. And that only makes up half, the triangle only makes up half of that rectangle. So we do base times height divided by 2. Sometimes this is known as 1/2 base times height. Either way, these are the same. And then for a parallelogram actually has the same formula as a rectangle. It's base times height. However, we need to be careful. Our height is straight up and down. This is not our height. Okay? So this is not our height. Our height is vertical, straight up and down, and our base is on the bottom. The reason why we can do base times height for a parallelogram, I'm going to just draw one down here. If you were to draw right from the corner here, a little line down, going straight down there, if I were to take that piece, this little triangle right here, and replace it over here, we now have a rectangle, which is base times height. So if we take this piece off and replace it over here, we have the same shape. So that's why these two are the same. And then last, the formula for the perimeter of any shape is simply to add up all of the sides. All 3 sides or 4 sides, or how many sides your shape has. So now we're going to use some of the formulas. It says, pick your formula for area or perimeter. Substitute in what you know. Substitute means plug in what you know. And then solve. Okay? So A means area, and we have a triangle. So area is 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Either way, you'll get the same thing. I like to use this one, base times height divided by 2. And I'm going to plug in what I know. This right here is my base. This right here, pointing to this piece. Always, this means right angle right there. That means that's your height. So I'm going to plug in what I know. We have area equals base, 231, multiplied by our height, which is 111, all divided by 2. So we're going to multiply first, like it says. So I'm going to plug in my calculator, 231 times 111, and I get a really big number, 25,641, and we need to divide by 2. So I just simplified this right there. If I plug that in and divide by 2, I get 12,820.5. So we were talking about feet. So area is actually feet squared because it's a 2-dimensional shape. It's not just a length, because this is a length of number of feet. Base times height divided by 2 gives us our units, our feet squared. Alright, next, this one's looking for P, which stands for the perimeter. Perimeter means we add up all the sides. All of the outside edges. So we don't actually need the height for this one. We're going to add up all the sides. So if this side is 9, this side up here is also 9. And if this side is 7.5, this side is also 7.5. So our perimeter is 9, I'm doing this one, plus 7.5 plus 9 plus 7.5. Doesn't matter what order you add them in, but we are going to simply add them all up. I'm going to use my calculator. If you can, you can actually do most of this in your head probably. And I get an answer of 33. So a perimeter is just a distance around the edge. So our distance is still in terms of centimeters. Our distance around the edge is 33 centimeters. All right, slide 3. There are no shapes on this one, so if we need to, we might want to draw a shape. So pick your formula, substitute in or plug in what we know, and solve for the unknown. So let's start reading. It says a square. Okay, since it says square and there's no picture, I'm just going to draw a square. A square has a side length of 16 feet. What is the perimeter and what is the area? So we have two things we're going to find here, perimeter and area. So I know perimeter is adding up all the sides, and since this is a square, all of the sides are 16. So I'm going to write 16 on each of those. So we can add 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16. I'm going to actually use all this way. 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16, or 16 times 4. We get a perimeter of 64, and we're talking about feet. Then our area for a rectangle or a square is base times height. Our base and our height are both 16, so we have 16 multiplied by 16, which gives us an area of 256. Since we're talking about feet, our units for area are feet squared. Since this is now a two-dimensional, we're looking at this whole space. Feet times feet is feet squared. All right, next. It says a triangle. Okay, we're going to have to draw a triangle here in a second. A triangle has a base of 11 inches and a height of 50 inches. What is the area? Doesn't really matter what type of triangle you draw for this example. Here, my base is 11 on the bottom, and my height is 50. If you drew a triangle like this, same thing, 11, and this would be 50. Doesn't matter, you will still get the same answer. So we're looking for just the area. So area of a triangle, remember, is base times height divided by 2. So we have, plug in what we know, our base is 11, multiplied by our height, which is 50, and then we're going to divide by 2. So I'm going to do the top part first. Always simplify what you have on the top or the bottom of a fraction. So 11 times 50 gives me 550, but we need to divide by 2. Our area of this triangle is 275. We were talking about inches, so area is always squared because we're talking about a two-dimensional object. That is the area of that triangle. All right, we have 2 left. Both of these we need to find the area and perimeter because we have both letters here. We're going to do the first one together, and the second one you can do on your own. First one's a triangle. I'm going to find our perimeter first. Perimeter for both shapes is going to be easy, just adding up all the sides. So our perimeter is 5 plus 6 plus 5. Well, I know 5 plus 5 is 10. So we really have 10 plus 6, which is 16. So our perimeter is 16. We're talking about feet. It's just a distance straight around for perimeter. Then our area for a triangle, base times height divided by 2. So our base is 6. Our height, be careful, our height is here, not the 5. Our height is really 4. So our area is 6 times our height, which is 4, divided by 2. Remember to simplify what's on top of our fraction first. 6 times 4, hopefully you maybe know that one. 6 times 4 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is really just 12. So our area is 12 feet squared. Area is always squared because it's this whole thing in here. Like, how much paint would we need to color in this triangle? Last one I want you to try on your own. When you're done, click play, and then click to see if you got it right. So first, our perimeter, not all of the sides are labeled, so that would be the first step, would be to label all of your sides. If this side here is 10, the other is also 10, and 12, and 12. We know that to be true for a parallelogram. So we're going to add up these sides. 10 plus 12 plus 10 plus 12. We are not adding the 8, only the outside edges right now. This 12 is really that long side. That will give us the perimeter. Well, I'm going to do this an easy way and say, well, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is going to give us 40. And then our ones place, 2 plus 2 is 4. 44, because those are zeros. Our perimeter is 44. M is for meters. And then we need to find the area. Area is base times height for a parallelogram. Oops, just base times height. Our base, let's take a look here. Our base is 12 and our height is really 8. So we have base of 12 times the height of 8. So our area, 12 times 8, is 96. Remember, area is always squared. So it's 96 meters squared. All right, your homework, you have lots of shapes. Just a reminder that if all the sides of your shape are not labeled, like these 3 are labeled, you might need to label the last one. Same thing here, you're missing a side length in order to find the perimeter for many of these. You need to find area and perimeter. And then on the back side, you are finding the area, area of these triangles. This one you're finding both. There's one more down below. This one, you need to find the mistake. What did they do wrong? And be careful, this object might be turned. So turn your head or turn the page to look at it from a different angle.